Morning, morning. Steve Backlund here. Hello, hello. Igniting Hope family. So good to be here. Good to be with you. This is Thanksgiving week here in the United States of America. And we're thankful for you. We're thankful for God's promises. We're thankful for who we are, because who we are is because of Him and what other people have invested in us. So good morning, good afternoon to those of you in Europe, Africa. If you're watching us from Asia, you are up early, or it's very late. Thank you, everybody. Hey, we're going to continue today, Culture of Empowerment. We're doing a 2-week emphasis on that, our new book, The Culture of Empowerment, Organizational and Business Version, How to Build Big People. Wrote of my brother Phil Backlund. He was on with me last Friday. What a good time that was. And just sharing our own journey, our own connecting our seemingly divergent pathways that have come together in the last few years. His in education, a college professor, mine in ministry, and we realized that we both have some very similar core values that we've implemented in our lives, in those that we seek to influence, the cultures that we've created, the teams that we've created. And that was so good. And on Thursday we had Ash and Michelle from my team. They were on. Connie Jones on Wednesday, and then I did Monday and Tuesday, and I'm going to be on with you tomorrow, Tuesday, and on Thursday as well. Wow. All right, so let's see who's on today. We've got Rhonda. Good morning. Matthew. Yes. Lynn. Allison, thank you for joining us. Hey, if you're new, we got Rochelle, Terry. Yes. Lydia there in Phoenix. If you're new with us and this is your first time, or you haven't been with us for a while, why don't you put it in the chat? Just say hi and where you're from, and love to greet you as well. And certainly as we continue in this topic today, I welcome your questions on the culture of empowerment, and I'll just give a little bit of a review and some things that are a part of this book and the course that we also have that goes with this. I'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, but love if you had a question and that would just spark a direction to go, how to lead people. Because the culture of empowerment, again, is not a leadership style, it's a lifestyle. It's a heart that we have for people. Jesus said that, people lord it over others, and he basically said that's what's called leadership, but he said the greatest of you will be the servant of all. The greatest of you will be the servant of all. And so when we have a heart to serve the dreams of other people, to be a person in their lives that identifies the unique skill sets and gifts that they have, and we start partnering with what God has destined for them, and we be a person that is an encourager, and as we make that a lifestyle, then what happens is that we're going to be put in leadership positions, because that is so rare. It's so rare to have people who are genuinely concerned about the total well-being of those in their lives, not just what they can do for them. And certainly we have in our lives, and we need to in our organizations, businesses, ministries, wherever, there's going to need to be time where, hey, you know what, this isn't working. In business, you may need to let people go, fire them, whatever, but it still comes from a heart for people. We don't see people as just objects to accomplish our vision, our goal, but we see that we are more into developing people than we are to achieve goals or to accomplish vision. And that's the heart behind the culture of empowerment. And yes, Paul, good morning. Yes, Gretchen. Ben, yes. Ben from my team is on here. Hey, before I talk a little bit more specifically, let me say this in the beginning. This 2 weeks, last week, this week, we've got two specials going on. The book, The Culture of Empowerment, is available on Amazon for 40% off this week. Kind of we're jumping into the Black Friday happening here. And then our course, The Culture of Empowerment, a 12-week course, is available on our platform, ignitinghopeacademy.com. ignitinghopeacademy.com. It's a 12-week course that goes with the book. And it's my brother Phil and I with one video per week, and then 3 podcasts that go along with that 10, 15-minute long, 20-minute long podcast that reinforce the concepts of that particular week. Hey, before I talk about the book more and talk about how it connects with your life, one of the keys to a culture of empowerment is learning how to empower ourselves, how to inspire ourselves. Because if we're not excited about ourselves, why should anybody else be? And so I was thinking, I went to church yesterday here in Reading, Bethel Church, and was sitting next to a student at the School of Supernatural Ministry. And as is usually the case, I don't go to a meeting without releasing an encouraging word to somebody, without releasing a prophetic word. And his name was Will. And I have fun just toying with names and interacting with Holy Spirit. And I got a word for him using the letters of his name. And I was just praying, and I had the concept wrestler. Wrestler imparting long-lasting leadership is the word that I gave. Wrestler imparting long-lasting leadership. And I heard this over him, and I believe that it's not just a word for him, but it's a word for people watching. And this today, and it comes under the category of learning how to inspire ourselves. And I was drawn to Genesis 32, where Jacob wrestled with the angel. And he was wrestling with him, and the angel said, "Let me go." And Jacob said, "I will not let you go until you bless me. I will not let you go until you bless me." He was tenacious. And so the angel said, basically, here's the blessing. Your name will no longer be called Jacob, which means deceiver, but your name will be called Israel, prince with God. And there's really, what is the greatest blessing that we can get? Jacob could have got a new tent, a new camel, but the blessing was a revelation of his true identity and who he was in God. And I believe this, that it is a wrestling. There's a wrestling. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, it says in Ephesians 6. And putting on the full armor of God, the way we put on the full armor of God is through beliefs and believing that we have them, and attaching faith to directions within our lives. And so I'm hearing today that the Lord is releasing grace on you to be tenacious, to wrestle, so to speak, with God, to wrestle, so to speak, with yourself, and to not let God go, to not let it go until there is a revelation of who you really are. Oh my, that gets me fired up. The violent, we take it by force. Yes. Hey, let me just check here. See if anybody's got a question. Oh, Nigel Desmond, love having you on here. Jenny, yes. Nigel, was so great to bless Debbie, your wife, on her birthday recently. We love you. All right, so just as I said in the beginning, if there is a question that you want to ask me, hey, Gretchen, glad you got the book. Whew. And all right, just checking here. If you do have a question, feel free to ask. So this, in just talking about the culture of empowerment, and we wrote an original book, How to Champion People. Phil and I did with Melissa DeMont, who was a motto then, and now we've done this revised version, and it talks about just the chapters here. What is empowerment? Well, empowerment is when someone believes in you more than they believe in yourself, and they create an opportunity for you to influence environments that they are a part of, that they are leading. They allow you to influence them. That's some of the symptoms of a culture of empowerment, where it's you can do it. And then we talk about empowering beliefs. A culture of empowerment starts by having beliefs that there's gold in people. There's gold in the people around you. People won't mind you moving their dirt as long as they know you're looking for gold in them, that you believe there's gold in them. And one of the greatest things that empowering people do, empowering leaders do, is they believe in the people they're leading. They believe in the people in their lives. They've overcome the normal pattern of relationships, and where it's excitement, disappointment, and then either disengagement or reconnection. And so, and I'm talking the great leaders right now who are watching this, some watching live, some watching the recording. Great leaders, one of the most important things that leaders do is believe in the people they lead, to have hope for the people that they lead. And again, this doesn't mean people have equal access to you or equal opportunity under you. But there's a general belief that you have. I say it all the time, that I believe after love, hope is the most powerful leadership, influential quality there is. I believe after love, hope is the most powerful leadership, influential quality there is. It's difficult to influence that which you do not have hope for. Yes. And then we talk about how to empower ourselves. How to empower ourselves. And I've already touched on that. But this is why I love to make declarations. This is why I love to talk about who we say we are. Because the second most important question in all of life is who we say we are. The most important question is who we say Jesus is. Who do I say I am? Believing that I'm significant. Believing I'm important. And so learning the keys, and Igniting Hope Ministry gives all kinds of keys of how to empower ourselves. And so that was chapter 3, being an empowering person. Chapter 4 is empowering language. The words that we choose are really important in creating the cultures. The words that we choose are really important in creating the culture. Now this book, by the way, I want to just say about this version of the book is we have made this book so that I believe it's going to connect with people whether they're believers or not. It's going to connect with people. We've taken a lot of the Christianese out of it to reach a different market, but we use the same principles that are in this first book. And when we talk about language, when we talk about words, great leaders speak intentionally. Great influencers speak intentionally. I like to say it this way: the future is in the mouths of intentional speakers. And our words are either going to disempower or empower. We create cultures with our words. We create atmospheres with our words. with our words in speech, our words in emails and text, the choice of words is either going to draw people closer to us or distance them from us. And then we establish a culture of empowerment in our organization. That is chapter 5. Now, Jenny, I love note to yourself. And so we create a culture of empowerment. And in this chapter, we've got a whole list of things. As a matter of fact, I've got Phil and we put in 20 different things you can do to create a culture of empowerment. I mean, first is you have an incredible vision for your life and organization. You first need to believe you're important. You need to believe what you're doing is important. The organization that you have, the business that you have is not just to make money, but it's to influence the world in a positive way. You've got a vision. You keep believing in people when you don't want to. You take the necessary time to build trust. You become a great question asker. These are how to create a culture of empowerment. You develop a leadership training program within your organization. You realize that you're not just training people in skills to do the job, but you create a leadership culture where you're growing together. You're causing people to rise up in their giftings and understand how to lead and understand how to live life successfully. You understand that one of the greatest things that you do is to train people in how to think. You establish the habit of team members setting goals. These are all under the category of creating a culture of empowerment in your organization. And then we have a chapter 6, choosing who to empower and when. Choosing who to empower and when. That's such a vital thing in the culture of empowerment. Is who do we choose? And we give a lot of insights on this and what not to do and what to do. Now, certainly, if we're a smaller organization, smaller business, a lot of who we're going to choose and when, hopefully, is going to come through those who are with us for a season, have proven faithful on smaller things, believe in our culture, are loyal to us, we've built trust, we can promote from within. If we bring people from outside of the organization, it is very, very helpful to have people that we trust who can give us a recommendation of that person. And I do like to use the concept, I like to date people with smaller levels of responsibility before I marry them with a title. Who to choose and when. Yes. Wow. And then the next chapter is increasing the likelihood of being empowered ourselves. Increasing the likelihood of being empowered. You know, there's certain things that we can do that will decrease the likelihood. I've got a list there. Not following through in what we say we will do. Having an entitlement attitude with little or no servant's heart. Being reactive instead of proactive in communications, gossiping, grumbling, only doing the minimum, lying, stealing, wasting time, not being a self-starter, regularly tardy, displaying moodiness, having a mentality that is afraid to voice an opinion, not being a team player, having a lack of buy-in for the corporate vision, having poor grooming, making social media messes. I mean, these things seem obvious, but it's there's things that we can do that will increase the likelihood. Then we've got chapter 8, working with and empowering people from other cultures. And just how much the world now is global and different cultures are interrelating, whether it's a national culture from people from another nation or it's a culture within our nation. Maybe it's a different political party than you're a part of. Maybe it's a different age group than you're a part of. Maybe it's rural versus urban, whatever. Learning how to thrive in relationships and working with people from different cultures is so important. And then we've got 2 chapters on empowering meetings, how to lead empowering meetings. Whether it's a one-on-one meeting, a team meeting, an organizational meeting, a church meeting. Meetings is so important. And then we have chapters on empowering listening, empowering public speaking, which is really, these are 2 chapters my brother Phil brought in so well. Empowering others through managing conflicts effectively. And then lastly, empowering ways to work with challenging people. So we've got the book, we've got the course, 12-week course goes with that. This is for anybody who wants to increase their effectiveness in working with people, how to deepen their own fulfillment in life by investing in others. One of the greatest things that brings fulfillment in life is to see people thrive, to see people become what they never could become. Yes. Hannah, you asked the question, would this be a good book for a whole leadership team to read together or more? I believe it's for the whole team. I mean, it obviously, as the leader, if there's areas that the book highlights that you're not doing well, then the whole team, you get to talk about that. So it takes a certain level of vulnerability, Hannah, for you to do it with the whole leadership team. But I believe it's a powerful, yes, that would be the most powerful way to do it. You may want to read through it as a lead pastor first, but the course would be something for 12 weeks to train your people in how to create a culture of empowerment. Doing the course with the book would be the highest way to do it. Now, Beth, you say, is this book included in the TMRC class? No, the original version of the Culture of Empowerment is included in the TMRC class. So I should say yes and no. Yeah, you're going to get the whole book. And the original book has great content as well. So I'll back up. Yes, it is included. Hannah, we love you there in New York. Hey, I'm just going to take a few more minutes here, ready to wrap this up. And we have such a vision here at Igniting Hope Ministries to help create healthy leadership, to help people go to the next level in their leadership effectiveness. You know, our goal is not to build a big organization, but to build big people that take that thought and to really go deep into that. And yes, and really to develop us in a way that we never knew we could be developed. I know one of the things that I am is I'm a leader developer, and I've seen so many people get raised up under my leadership, and that is so exciting. And it's thrilling to be able to share these principles with others. And some of you have read the original book, The Culture of Empowerment, and this is just taking it to another level in this current book, the organizational, business and organizational version. There's new content. There's different ways of saying it. So they both just really reinforce each other. The first book has much more biblical basis, much more scripture based, and then this book here has just very practical, takes basically the Christianese out of it, but is faith based. Yes. Very good. Yep, Ben, we have had such a good time, haven't we, in our team meetings of going through it. We're about halfway through, and what we do is, and it's a great model for going through books, is that we read a chapter a week, and then we go, everybody shares what is one sentence or two sentences out of the chapter that spoke to them the most. All right, hey, I'll be back on here tomorrow. If you've got a question, and maybe you're watching this recording later and you have a question that you would love for me to talk about Wednesday, I'm going to be doing Q&A. I'll be answering some of the questions Q&A I've heard through the years, but I would especially love to have Q&A from you. And if you have a question and you're watching this later, go email us at info@ignitinghope.com and give us your question. Hey, before I close today, I want to also let you know of something that we're doing starting January 1st. Not only have I written the new book, The Culture of Empowerment, Business and Organizational Version, but I've also written another book that will be released in mid-December called Igniting Hope in 40 Days. Igniting Hope in 40 Days. And that book is some of my latest content. And we've created a 40-day video journey that goes along with the 40 devotionals that are in that book. And that might be a good thing for you to do personally or with others, a 40-day journey of igniting your hope as you begin 2022. You'll hear more about that on through our newsletters and emails at ignitinghope.com. That's coming up. We'll talk more about it. Hey, this is the week, the Culture of Empowerment Week. We're really excited about this. Pray for us that this message will just be a leaven that leavens ministries, organizations, businesses, and our lives. Hey, I'll be back on here tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm going to talk about how we can train our team in the culture of empowerment and how we can do it as a group. And here's an activation today for you to do. Become the biggest encourager in every environment you're in. That's the activation. Become the biggest encourager, and purpose not to leave any situation without giving somebody an encouraging word or a prophetic word. That's your activation. Let's do it. Bye, everybody.